the time to call in tonight. Most of you know me, I'm Sherry. I am the co-chair of the coordinating team along with John Ward. He looks like Bailey Lynch on there, but he's on my daughter's computer. So John is actually in the office with me. The first thing I'd like to do before Dan and Guy give their presentation and share the information with you is just kind of give you a look back on what got us to this point. So I'm going to just kind of go through a little bit, all right, with you guys and catch everybody up. So after many years of praying, God has moved us forward in the process of building a new church home for our congregation. We began this process way back in March of 2006 when we had a presentation by Saavedra and Gehlhausen of a possible either renovating the church or building a new church building. We discovered at that time the cost to renovate this building would exceed over $6 million. In May of 2006, a straw poll was taken by the congregation, and there was a 94% positive response to proceed with buying land and building a new church instead of doing the renovation. Shortly after the straw poll, a search began to look for land to purchase for our new church building. In 2009, we began working with Dan and Guy on the possible building plans. And over the past several years, we visited many churches by many of our subcommittee members, many of our congregation members, to help kind of see what options were out there and what building needs would be. We started a 3-year capital campaign in the fall of 2017, and to date, we've raised over $3 million in this campaign, thanks to the generosity of our congregation and many friends of our church. In 2019, the church formed the coordinating team, which consists of Karen Mason, Jean Stanley, Sean Chapman, John Ward, and myself, along with support of Pastor Jonathan. This team is responsible for leading 8 sub-teams to determine the church's wants and needs of a new building. Over the past 4 months, these 8 subcommittees, which consists of over 60 members of the congregation, have taken direction from the overall design team. And we've used their input. We've met on numerous occasions with Saavedra and Gehlhausen Architects. And these 2 gentlemen, you guys have listened very carefully to our church's needs and desires. We looked at over 30 different land sites before we found the land that would work for our church. In October of 2020, the church was able to purchase 15 acres of land, and this is from the Story family on North Annie Glidden Road. After working with Dan and Guy over several months, we reviewed over 11 different building plan options. We gave them many revisions. They got us down to 2, and I think we got them to do 4 more revisions. We landed on what's going to be presented to you today that is the best option to fit both church needs and the budget that we currently have. We are aware and we do understand that this is only the first phase of what we hope will be our new church home, and that we can grow and expand as our congregation does. And when Dan and Guy present the floor plan to you and the information to you in just a little bit, you'll be able to see that we already have phase 2 projected in here if we do a second capital campaign, and we have the ability as our church and congregation grows to build out for the layout that we've come up with. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Dan and Guy, and Dan is going to share his screen with you and kind of talk us through the presentation, and then John Ward will finish up and talk at the end for us, okay?
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let me share a screen with you, and let's see, is this one? Are you seeing my screen now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me use the pointer. All right. So as Sherry indicated, we have done numerous layouts for the design. The presentation today will have, we are going to go first to the site plan. Then we will look into what the selected plan by the committee that is how the committee believes that, and the committee and us all together believe that have met all of the needs and wants from the different committees in the congregation. And then we will evaluate a little bit volumetric renderings, and we go after that to do cost estimates. So the site plan has the location of the church is shown on this light dark gray color. To orient you, this is Annie Glidden Road in this location. We have the entrance to the church this way. We are going to enter this way, and we have the parking spaces that we are going to do on phase 1 in this location. We have here the phase 1 church, alternate bid for future expansions, a little bit of additional expansion for the parking lot. We have future additions in these locations and in this area. This square that you see here is the square that represents the 5 acres of the property. We have your 10 acres will extend that way off the screen, probably a couple more times. And this will give us an orientation of how the view from Annie Glidden, every time that everybody drives through here, they're going to see the front door, they're going to see the entrance of the church. Then this is the administration area. We have the sanctuary in this location, and we have Christian education here. So all of the spaces that face Annie Glidden are going to be pretty much representing the activity and the life of the church. Couple of things that you notice in that we would like to do in this floor plan is we have a future canopy or an addition covered canopy. We have a small canopy at the entrance, but when we enter the church here from the vestibule, we like to enter here on axis with the table, because this is the main purpose of why we come to church. Our lessons, our learnings, our experiences that happen here in the sanctuary, we are going to be here. Everything begins right there at the table. So we need to remember every time that we come to church that this is our purpose of coming to congregate and to worship together as a congregation into this space. Generally, I'm going to describe the spaces. We have the sanctuary in this location. We have the narthex in this area. We have administration area here. We have kitchen and bathrooms in this location. And in this area, we have the classrooms. So as I said before, we enter from the vestibule into the narthex area. The narthex also works as a multi-purpose area, not only work as a gathering area in the beginning, but also work as an overflow. We come into the sanctuary and we have 222 seats in the sanctuary. We have 30 seats for the choir. We have the organ, the electronic organ. We have the piano, the lectern, the table, the pulpit. The bell table the bell tables are located here, and we have the baptismal font. To enter the chancel, we climb 2 steps in this area, but we also have a ramp behind this wall, this main wall, that allows people with difficulties to walk in or in a wheelchair to access the chancel area. Behind the chancel area, we have a sacristy, we have a storage, and we have a music storage as well, music and robe storage in this location. At the entrance here, we have a sound booth, and the narthex and overflow, we have for overflow capacity 70 chairs in each one of these group of chairs. So The total seating capacity for the sanctuary at any one time is 392 seats. And without putting overflow is 222 plus the 30 seats on the choir. There really is no reason to do a sanctuary for 392 seats when we are going to use this overflow probably only 6 or 7 times a year, in Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, the confirmation times, and all of this, and maybe on a funeral as well, we will use that way. So there is no reason to design this space to fit 390 or 400 seats when we can do that with approximately half of the space. There is a table and chair storage in each one of these sides of the vestibule. So those table and those chairs could be stored here when we move the tables out, because these could be also in phase 1, the fellowship space. We have a kitchen, a full commercial kitchen with a large pantry that will serve directly into the fellowship area in this location. We also have restrooms. We have men and women restrooms with drinking fountains here. So 3 stalls in each one of those. But additionally, we have a family restroom. So a family can come together to take care of a child, or a mother and daughter, a father and son can come to help an elderly parent come to go to the restroom. Those things are important, and they should not be, or it will not be as comfortable to do it in the regular restroom.
Is that where the changing table is going to be? Baby changing table?
The changing table, we have a changing table in the family restroom, and we have a changing table in the men's and women's restroom as well.
Okay.
That normally happens in this location and this location. So we have it in both, or we can locate it here and here, but there is a location for a changing table on each bathroom, and as well in the family restroom. The administration area is composed of 3 working stations. We have a secretary area in this area, and we have 2 additional workstations. The advantage, this is all glass in here. The advantage of locating it here is that the secretary, or the person in the office at the moment, could look clearly who comes into the parking lot, who comes into this door from here. So they have if someone comes to the door here or enters right here, that if we are going to have a locked door, that could be opened by the person in the office. We have the senior pastor's office in this area, assistant pastor's office, a workroom for assembly of bulletins, copying, and etc. And we have a little conference room or an additional classroom that could be located here for adult classes. When we come into the education area, we have 3 classrooms, we have 1, 2, and 3 classrooms and a nursery. And these rooms are approximately 210, 220 square feet, with another classroom a little bit larger of 320 square feet approximately. This is 22 by 14. This is 14 by 15, 14 by 15, and 14 by 15. We have a mechanical room that is located at the end, and we have a future expansion, the immediate expansion of additional 3 classrooms, 1, 2, and 3, for an alternate build.
May I ask a quick question? A very quick question?
Sure.
For the nursery, a lot of times nurseries have some kind of way of knowing what's going on in the sanctuary. They either have it you know, an audio is being in there or they have a visual? Is there going to be something set up so the nursery, when it's going on
Yes,
and it's manned,
absolutely.
they'll know what's going on in the sanctuary?
We are going to have audio and video probably in this wall, and in one of the
Okay.
walls it will be audio and video. And
Thank you.
also, if you notice, the nursery here is also located in a place where you can have some visual to the sanctuary that way, through maybe a side light in this location, so you can see clearly what could happen in the sanctuary from this location.
And
So-
all of the classrooms, whenever there's any classrooms, they have to have a door with a window in it.
Correct.
Is that going to be set up that way as well?
They will have side light windows on each one of the classrooms. That
Okay.
is by safe sanctuaries that we have to follow that rule.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So we have the classrooms here. We have the nursery. We have administration. We have narthex and overflow fellowship hall, table and chair storage in this area. And now we are going to see how this building looks in a volume. This is like bird's eye view. This is very conceptual. We have not selected any materials. We have not selected any finishes yet for the exterior. Here we come from Annie Glidden Road. We come into the parking area. We have the phase one canopy located in here, the entrance, the drop-off area. We have the volume for administration, narthex, sanctuary, classrooms, and mechanical room in here, and additional an additional parking to enter from this side to the kitchen area. And we have a pedestrian view. Oh no, this is the extension of the canopy. If prices are good and we are allowed to have this drop-off canopy, will be something like that.
And where was the handicap entrance going to be?
The
It looked like
handicap-
it looked like it was going to be towards the front of the sanctuary.
The
That's not
handicap
the-
entrance is, every door is accessible for handicap.
Okay,
This area, these are the handicap parking areas here and here. They have to be located closer to the main entrance, but every single door in the sanctuary is accessible to the handicap.
okay.
But the main entrance is through here.
Looks great.
Then this is a pedestrian view of when you are coming to the church. We have the canopy and the entrance, and this is all accessible, handicap accessible. And we have another door through this area when we can enter from the additional parking area for deliveries, groceries, and so on. So, any questions about the volume, the design, the location of the spaces, anything that you have additional questions up to now?
They
For the
talked.
parking,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
for the parking lot, how many cars can be parked?
Right now we have 65 parking spaces, and with a potential to expand parking in the future to more than 200 parking spaces. But initially we have 65 parking spaces, which is what is approved by the city of DeKalb, and is what we can afford to do in the current budget.
Okay. And also for the classrooms, would they have the permanent built-in walls, or it's kind of movable, or?
There are permanent walls.
Okay, thank you.
Permanent walls, and they are located, they are basically, these walls are going to be permanent. So you have definite classrooms. So because if you put movable partitions in here, those are more expensive than permanent walls.
I see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it doesn't help with the noise level either. They have to be permanent for the noise level.
Correct.
They had at one time talked about having a cross on top of the church. Have they given that any more thought, or they just put that on the back burner?
No, it's not on the back burner. It's part, we are going to design an element in that is going to be a steeple, be in this location or in this location. It is an additional item that an alternate bid that we are going to design for that, but no, it's not on the back burner yet. It is still in the program. It's still and something that we will be designing for the building.
And mention the stained glass that we're gonna move and where it's gonna go.
Yeah, thank you, Guy. I forgot about that. So let me go back to the floor plan. So on the side of the sanctuary, we are going to relocate the stained glass in this area and in this area. We also have options to locate some of the stained glass above the between the wall that is on the movable partition. This opens completely to have complete opening of this area, but above we may be able to locate some of the stained glass in this location, because this is going to be like a cathedral ceiling. So you have a wall above between the sanctuary and the narthex. And there are many other spaces, could be in some of this wall in this location. And we could have other spaces where we can do some of the stained glass also on the back wall, because these walls are low, they are not going to go all the way to the ceiling. So we may be able to put stained glass in the back wall that is behind the sanctuary, behind the chancel area.
It'll give us something to look at when we're looking towards the front of the sanctuary.
Yes.
So there was a question on Sunday about the stained glass. The stained glass is going to be interior. It would be really expensive to build them so you could see exterior. They would not be energy efficient. Or if we did make them so they were visible outside, Dan and Guy, you were saying they'd be like a triple pane type thing. But for the potential of it, they'll be just a design element within the sanctuary.
Correct. The stained glass is going to be in the third pane on the inside of the church. On the outside, the double pane glass is a regular window that is insulated and meets all of the energy codes.
So actually, you won't see any stained glass window from the outside of the building.
No, you will
Oh,
see
you would. You'd
you
see
will.
it through double clear glass.
Oh, okay,
no clear glass.
gotcha.
Some will and some won't, Rose. So
and it
some
will
you
be-
might be
Yeah.
able to.
It will be
Yeah.
exactly the same
Well, I understand.
stained
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah, I understand the practicality of it. It's just the beauty of it. That's all.
You have some very nice glass windows. The ones that are just to the left of the chancel, they're from the 20s or 30s maybe. And then on the, let's see, behind the balcony on the east, is it east or south face? I always get
Oak Street side.
Oak Street side. They're kind of companion 4 panels that go together. And then there's a round Christ window that's up high, and the rose window, and a few other round ones we're going to try to work in somewhere. So
Okay.
Yeah, there's some smaller ones like in other areas, like in the balcony off to the other direction. You know, there's
There are.
smaller windows.
there's stained glass everywhere in that building.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of stained
Yeah.
glass that we
Yeah.
may use maybe some stained glass as well between this wall and this glass wall in the assistant pastor's office. We can put some in there. Everything, there could be many other places where we can do that.
Okay,
And
That's-
Rose, just to be clear, some of that's also going to be contingent on if we sell it to another church, or so remember, if they are going to use the building, if we take it out, we have to put something in those holes and in that.
No,
place as
I
well.
understand the
So, okay.
practicality of it.
Okay.
I totally understand the practicality of it. I've been on enough committees in my 75 years of my life to know that, you know, when things get too complicated, you have to go to the simplest solution. And it's the same way with the organ. You know, a lot of people wanted the pipe organ. Well, you know, it's not practical, is it?
No.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
just too much
Oh.
money involved.
Yeah, good deal. I just wanted to make sure people understood that this is what we hope to do and we want to do budget wise and
Right,
that type of
right.
thing. There are some variables along with it. So just, I
No,
want to make sure
I
we're clear.
totally,
Okay.
I totally understand. I totally understand because we cannot know for certain what's going to be happening to the church as a building when and if it sells. It's got to sell. When it sells, we don't know what's going to happen to it,
Correct.
right? Is
Correct.
that correct?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the floor plan?
Is there going to be carpet in the sanctuary or is it going to be hardwood or whatever?
Carpet.
Carpet
Yeah.
for sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want our little clicking of our high heels coming into the pews and everything. Or no, we're not going to have pews either, are we? It's going to be more like chairs
It's
that
going to
hook
be
together.
chairs.
Yeah,
Chairs that
okay.
look that you can tie together and
Right.
they look similar, but it's not. They are not going to be pews.
You're right. Yeah, I've visited other churches that did that. And I don't have any objection to anything that's been planned or considered and completed. I think you all have done a wonderful, wonderful job.
Thank you very much. It's, you have to give a lot of credit to the committee. The committee has been very specific on what they have done. The committees that that did all of the wishes and needs they did a fantastic job. So I think there is somebody waiting. Let me admit. I don't know who. Okay. So the committee has done an excellent job on that, and we have been following their direction quite well. I will let Guy now explain our cost estimate, and so we can go now to explain all of the. For a moment, I'm going to mute. There, okay.
Yeah.
Vince, I muted you because there was noise. So go ahead, Guy.
All right, thank you. Can you switch the picture, Dan, to me? You're in the corner. We're seeing you in the corner.
Well, I see you.
You see
Instead of
me
him.
now?
Yeah, everybody
I do.
sees you. I don't know
Nope.
why.
Yeah, we can see you guys. You're there.
All right. Because you
When
guys
you
can-
talk,
that-
when you talk, you're going to go to the square.
Yeah.
If you're not talking, then it goes to the person who's talking.
All right, it wasn't doing that on my screen. So, but anyways, so I've seen you, a lot of familiar faces there. We've been working with you guys a long time. Sherry mentioned 2005, 2006. In fact, we've designed over 100 churches, Dan and I, in our 30 years, but this is probably one of the longest running ones. Our original job number is 5021, which is so that means 2005, the 21st job in 2005. So we went through a lot of options with you guys, and we've ended up deciding to build new, but we and kind of interesting, Herb had us looking for some information last week, and we found some information from a meeting in 2016, right before you were deciding to move. And at that time, we told you that you needed to build a 10,300 square foot building, and it was going to cost $3.6 million. I'm sorry, my grandson just FaceTimed me there. But anyways, we found, and so 10,000, about 10,300 square feet and $3.6 million in 2016 was pretty prophetic, because that's exactly where we're at now. The plan, we've gone around in circles, and the plan is 10,300 square feet, and it's about $3.6 million. So thought that was pretty good. So I'm not going to discuss all these numbers, and they're probably hard to see on your screen, but there's just a few components to the cost estimate, so you understand where your money's going here. The site work is fairly expensive on this project because it's basically a cornfield right now. So you just annexed to the city, and a large component of the cost is to bring sewer and water into the site. And so the between the sewer and the water and the parking lot and earthwork and so on, about $750,000 of the budget is that. And then the building component is based on historical data that we maintain. We've got collect data on all the churches we built over the years, and then we use a engineering news record index to update them, which is amazingly accurate. So that number of $210 a square feet a foot didn't come from the clear blue sky. And we've actually built a couple churches very similar to this in the last few years. So we have a pretty high confidence level in those numbers. So that's about $2.2 million of the building. And then there's a lot of other stuff. In fact, that's the longest list in the cost estimate, is all the other stuff that goes with it. Everything from chairs to liturgical furnishings and audio video system. And that's one thing we haven't skimped on. We have a good budget for that. A new digital organ, we have to replace the organ. So all of those components, and then including a contingency, there's about $100,000 in contingency, because nothing ever goes the way you think it's going to go. So, and that's just what it's for. It's a contingency. So all that right now is adding up to about $3.6 million.
3.6. One thing that is not included, Guy, I'm sorry, is the cost of the sale of the property, and the cost is not included here.
Yeah, there's no new property cost. You already paid for your property, so that's not in there. And the sale of your building. So if you get any money, that would be gravy for the building. So that's not in there. So we're kind of pushing the limits here with what the church can afford. So we had to break a few things out of the budget. And there's what we call alternate bids. So when we go out for bids to general contractors, there's what we call the base bid. And that would be for the building and the site work. But then there's a couple alternates for 3 additional classrooms, and then another one for the canopy, the drive-through canopy extension, and a steeple with a cross. So those are broken out. And I mean, we have seen in the past, I'm not making promises, but when we built the United Methodist Church in Belvedere, the economy was so competitive that the bids came in lower, and they were able to afford a whole fellowship hall. So you never know what can happen. So
is there a line item for the signage out on the road so people know who we are?
I'm not sure if we have a line item for signage, to be honest with you.
I can talk on that. So Rose, initially, we're just going to put up a small sign. Right now, there's different approvals and certain things we have to go through the city. So like Sycamore has a big brick one that has a digital sign. Those are about $35,000. So that's not in our initial plan. We will put some sort of a sign, a metal sign out front, but right now that is not in the phase 1, I guess is what we would call it.
So members are not asked to go out every Sunday morning with a sandwich board and say, come out here.
No,
Yeah.
no, I
Just
promise
checking.
we won't. I promise we won't do that.
All right, just checking.
Great question.
Good question, though. Yeah. Hopefully there's some left of the contingency and we can afford a sign.
Yeah,
in the end.
the sign is, I'm working on our sign right now, and my wife and I help sometimes to change the sign at Poplar Grove. And that is a pain, and it's not easy, and you have to play with the letters, and if you don't have enough letters, you have to ask the pastor to change the title, and that is not good. So we are in the process of putting a new electronic sign, but those are to put it exactly in the place where we put it there in the same box is $20,000. If you build all of the additional components to hold the sign, depending on how extensive you do it, it could be $35,000 to $50,000 or $60,000.
Okay,
So anyway, so that's kind of an overview of the cost estimate, and we just as far as schedule goes, we were hoping to start construction in the fall, but time has kind of slipped, and even this charge conference, every little bits here and there, and I suspect it's probably going to be a spring 2022 construction start, and bid toward the end of the year here in late fall. So, but I would say by 2023 at this time, you'll be in a new church. So about a year and a half.
is there a line item for security?
Yes,
There is.
we're talking about that with technology.
Right,
Yeah, we do have a budget for phone system and that sort of stuff. And so it probably these days that's all kind of one package. Your phone and data and security and
security systems are right here. So
yeah, you want security while you're in the process of building it as well, so nobody walks off with your building supplies.
oh yeah.
That kind of thing, that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
well, contractors can't even store copper wire and pipe on the job anymore. It's
Right.
yeah.
I'm afraid that's our world.
It is. It is. Yeah.
When we were doing Hinsdale United Methodist Church, a 12 by 8 feet copper cross arrived to the site in the afternoon, and it was gone in the morning.
Oh, well, this is an isolated, it's not totally isolated, but it's further out, where it's not really, the site is not surrounded by a lot of people who would be aware of what's going on if there was something,
Yeah.
that didn't look right. That's all. Okay.
I have a question. What kind of energy efficiencies are going into the building?
You want me to hand that one, Dan? So nowadays we have a very stringent energy conservation code, a state code that we follow. And in 2018, the latest adopted one, it makes a building very efficient. We're also looking at some options. I know Pastor is kind of spearheading that, of possibly looking into some solar panels on the roof, but the building will be extremely just meeting the current energy code. It will be very energy efficient. So
solar panels could be located here,
Yeah, that'd be great.
there,
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah.
So we
That's
specifically oriented those roof slopes to the south, so it's set up for it if we can figure out an economical way to do it. So.
Well, I'm out of questions. I'm done.
Okay.
We're gonna let John Ward just talk a little bit here and a little wrap up, and then if we have any additional questions, we can also address those as well. Okay, guys? So John has a couple things he wants to say to the group as well.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm I'm glad we could all be together this evening. And
Uh,
once again, my name is John Ward, not Bailey Lynch, but I'm using Bailey's computer.
There's
And,
no picture. There's no picture of John.
John's listed, he's Bailey. I'll turn it all the way around. There, you can get him twice.
You are mute.
There we are. That's closer.
No, we're not muted.
Oh, not muted. Now I'm getting the 3/4 top of his head. There we go.
Better?
Thank
All
you.
right, all right. But I'm also a co-chair of this coordinating team. And first, we would like to thank Dan and Guy for their efforts in designing our new church. We've had a lot of nice comments and feedback on this. And I'd also like to thank Jim Horn, Tom Weber, Herb Buer, and many others who battled for years to get us this far. They started this process in 2006, and their journey has been long, with many, many meetings, many communications, many discussions. Kudos to all those guys that got us this far.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Also, years ago, we realized that remaining in this facility was really not possible. Maintenance costs are high and they're increasing in frequency every year. The church we're hoping to build has 10,500 square feet. Our current building has over 50,000 square feet, spread over 4 levels. I think we've got about 10,000 square feet in hallways and stairways alone. So it kind of shows you where we're at with our current facility. Everything about this facility is in need of repair. Everything from the roof to the basement, everything in between is in need of repair. We've been crawled through this building and looked above ceilings, and actually frightened ourselves and closed the ceiling back up and got out of there. But as the architects said earlier, $6 million we could have spent on this old church to update it, but you still end up with an old church, 4 different levels, spread all over creation and hard to maintain. So at $3.6 million, it's kind of obvious to many of us that this is the best solution. Within our building teams, we've gotten together and discussed our needs. We have listened to you. We've listened to the architects. The architects have listened to us and the building coordinating team. And all of us have responded with solutions. We realized that $3.6 million is $500,000 over our current budget. This projected shortage must be addressed by more donations, or we borrow from foundation, or a combination of both. We realize this is a big change for DeKalb First United Methodist Church. We've gotten here because we've trusted in God. As a church, we have prayed, we've planned, we've studied over all these options that have been brought to us. Now it's time for us to move forward and get this process started. On June 6th, there will be a vote of yes or no to these plans. Please review the information and cast your vote on Sunday, June 6th. Now, details of the June 6th vote will be forthcoming in the mail. The architectural drawings are displayed here in the church hallway outside of Darlene's office right now in large boards that are probably 2.5 feet long and 2 feet high. So they're even bigger than what you see on your computer screen, but it might be what some people need to visually conceptualize what we're talking about. People like myself, and Gene and others, we deal with prints and the architects, we've dealt with prints so much it's a second nature to us, but we realize it's sometimes difficult for other people to understand this. If in the next there will be 2 mailings that'll go out here shortly. One, I think, is hopefully going to go out at the end of this week. And this will go out to almost everybody that's involved with the First United Methodist Church, even non-members. And you'll basically get the 3 drawings that we looked at on a 8x11 copies. So you can review it and observe what we are proposing here. The second mailing will go out later in the month of May to explain the voting process for all voting members about the June 6th vote of yes or no. If you have any questions, you can feel free to call me at any time. My number is in the church directory, my cell number. We don't have a house phone anymore. We're like everybody else. We dropped our house phone, and we're both my wife and I are on cell phones. But you can call me on 815-761-3282, and I'll try to answer any questions you have. But I believe we've tried to work with the architects, and the architects have tried to understand what we've asked for, and what we're proceeding towards right now is a simple yes or no vote on this proposed building. I thank you very much.
All right.
So does anybody have any additional questions that they'd like to throw out to the architects or Dan and I, or John and I at this time?
I'm done. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you.
Vicki, go ahead.
I got here late to the party. Sorry about that. So I think when it was presented on Sunday, but I just want some clarity on the site and I know that the church is sited, kind of to the right of the lot. If you're standing looking at the church, how much more space is there from, on the south end of the lot then?
I will show you in a moment.
We're using about 5 acres approximately of the east end. Dan's got a square. You see a square there. I don't have a pointer, but that's 5 acres. So if you take that 2 times and go to the left, there's 10 acres unused.
10 acres this way. This is 5 acres. And from where we are locating the building, this is the 65 parking spaces here. We have additional parking area in this location that is probably equal to almost the same distance from this point to this point, that is from here to there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
One of those things I was trying to determine if there's easy access from the parking lot to the back side, because, that was a key thing that we were hoping to do, was invite the community to be on this property a lot and not create a fort, like a fortress that would block them from the back of the property or the side of the property. So that's what I was trying to understand, is how much space that is for, walkways and visual invitation, something that will invite people to come back to that part of the property.
At the moment, we don't have any walks plan or prepare in the 10 acres in this side, but people can park here and easily walk the site into that area very easily. There is not going to be any fences, obstacles, or anything like that. They can come and walk into this back area. My understanding is that this area is going to be rented for agricultural at the moment, but later on, that could be planned with the fellowship committee, because that is a good outdoor fellowship area.
Okay. But there is definitely space behind the church for outdoor activity.
You can, also come out of this door here and go straight out, and you can see here.
You could put 2 or 3 soccer fields back there.
Here and a door there, so you can go out to the back of the church.
Okay.
Yeah, we had talked about really trying to make easy access from inside, like especially from the kitchen area, so that if you were going to do an outdoor meal or that kind of thing, and if we have a patio area or a shelter back there, that there would be easy access. And they incorporated that by putting, making it possible to have a door right there by the kitchen going
Right
out to
here.
the back. Yeah.
And also, when in the parking lot that is right here, we can enter to the church that way. And from here, from the classrooms, kids can come out here and go that way.
It's good for fire safety too. Emergency exits. That's very important. You have emergency exits. That's well thought out.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions? If anyone thinks of anything in the future, you can reach out to any of the coordinating team members, any of the overall design committee. Pastor Jonathan has sat in on every one of these meetings with us, and he's well-versed as well. Jonathan, I would like to ask, would you mind giving us a closing prayer for our group that is here tonight that shared their thoughts with us and great suggestions?
Yeah, so we have a lot of praying still to do, because we still need some financial resources. We still need a lot of detail planning for, as somebody said, we haven't determined the colors or the materials for a lot of this. And so that'll be what we will be working with Dan and Guy on over the coming months. But we're looking forward to seeing a beautiful building in a beautiful location, and we'll move forward. But let's have a word of prayer, and then we can go forward. So let's pray. Lord God, thank you again for the thrill of being part of your kingdom work, for seeing new things come to fruition, for the way that you breathe new life and bring resurrection. We think especially in this Easter season, as you bring new life into the Annie Glidden North neighborhood, as you bring new life into our congregation, we look forward again to what you are up to, and we pray that you would use us for your glory and honor as we expand your kingdom together. So bless the work that we still have to do, and we commit ourselves into your hands now. In Jesus' name we pray. And all God's people said,
Amen. Thank you, Dan and Guy, for all your work. And thank you to everyone who took the time to get on the call tonight. We look forward to speaking with everybody soon. So take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.